Jesse Ridgway, also known as McJuggerNuggets on YouTube, just released his first ever feature film titled Don't Dream About Me. I've been looking forward to this movie since he announced it a few years ago, and honestly, ever since 2014, I've been a huge fan of McJuggerNuggets. The Psycho series is probably still the greatest web series I've ever seen, and I don't think anything has ever come quite close to it for me. And his follow-up series, The Devil Inside and My Virtual Escape, were super good. If there's one clear thing about Jesse Ridgway, he's super good at building complex and immersive narratives that leave you hooked. I could go on and on about how much I just love this channel and as a creator, and it was because of this that I could not wait to watch Don't Dream About Me. So, what do I think? Well, it's complicated. I ultimately ended up having mixed feelings about it. Let's start off with the good because there was indeed a lot of great stuff in this film. First off, the cinematography, exceptional. Honestly, for a movie with a budget of around like 400,000, the visuals were really superb. I'm dead serious when I say this looks so much better than many of the MCU movies in the last decade. I also thought the character adaptations of real life individuals were fitting and they were developed neatly. However, this does come with a downside that I'll get to in a minute. The movie is also a slow burn, which is great because I just love when film and TV shows take their time getting where they need to be and building everything up to a amazing climax. Don't Dream About Me, they did this as well. It was a slow burn and it built up to the movie's climax at the end. The concept of some being in people's dream always creeping nearby and trying to figure out what his meaning is, it carries through aptly, and I completely appreciated that. The most enjoyable part, if I had to say, was probably the montage with the song Summer Years by Death Cab for Cutie. I loved both the montage and the song, and it worked out well for this part of the film and the tone that Jesse was trying to build. But now the downsides. Look, I love McJuggerNuggets. The guy is an artist. However, I have to say, this movie left a lot to be desired. Going back to the characters, the movie being a fictional documentary was neat and could have really worked nicely if not for the fact that we don't see too much of these characters. We get a couple scenes, but it doesn't last, and that's disappointing. And what was supposed to be a documentary about Jesse developing and having a personal conflict in his life that he's been grappling with for so long, we really don't get this explored as much as I would have liked to have seen. Sometimes the movie doesn't even mention him in many of the key parts, even though he is the driver of all of this. And while Jesse's performance is overall super good, if I'm really honest, the standout star in this film to me is Michael Green, who is really the only character I would say that gets a satisfying payoff or at least a satisfying catharsis to his relationship to these dreams and the premonitions. And when it comes to the conflict, Jesse is trying to figure out what the meaning of his premonitions in the mysterious manner, and, well, it doesn't really go anywhere satisfying. Headed into spoilers here, be warned if you haven't seen the movie. In the last 10 minutes of the film, Jesse finally comes face to face with this mysterious suited man, and it's kind of anticlimactic. Jesse just decides he doesn't want to know the future and just enjoy life. Now, this is a fitting conclusion, but it's not one that you would sit through a 2 hour movie for and leave happy about. Especially when it's clear in this film that Jesse has dedicated half of his life to finding this mysterious guy in his subconscious. I was really hoping there would be more of a payoff, but ultimately this movie seems to frustratingly never build to anything conclusive other than Jesse just deciding, I'll just move on. And that really sucks because it really could have gone further. So overall, I didn't love Don't Dream About Me, but I do think there's a lot here that gives Jesse a lot of potential as a filmmaker. Anyone who can produce something so cinematic with a budget less than 1% of most other ideal films in this neighborhood of story has massive potential. He's got a lot of future possibilities, and I'd love to see how he expands his film career if he chooses to go forward. So I'm gonna give this movie, Don't Dream About Me, a 5.5 out of 10. Not the great film I hoped for, had a lot of disappointments, but still a nicely done one nonetheless that I can clearly see the effort put into, and I do look forward into seeing what comes next for Jesse Ridgway's film career. That's about it. Let me know your thoughts if you saw the movie. Hope you have a great day.